Margo Supplies also manufactures net launchers for live capture by wildlife professionals.
Jeff Marley spent more than a week trying to catch Ed with his special net gun. He succeeded last night, finally.
Margo Supplies.
Well, here we are. Dad, we're here for the introduction of our YouTube channel. We wanted to pull one out from the archives. This isn't a product we sell anymore, but it's a net gun. Pretty self-explanatory. So, what was the story behind this?
Well, it became popular in a lot of parts of the world, particularly New Zealand, where they started catching wild ungulates as breeding stock. They became extremely valuable animals, like up to $30,000. It's not without incident. They had some mishaps, some crashes. It became a little too risky for some of the agencies, but some still do it.
So you've been in business since 1980 is when Margo started. What years was the net, do you figure? Was
Rather mid-'80s.
Mid-'80s to mid-'90s?
About that. The purpose I had for it was mostly in the Northwest Territories and the Yukon Territory for caribou management. They wanted to put telemetry collars on the animals. Previously, they did it with helicopter and darting. There were a lot of problems with inducing miscarriages with pregnant females. The reversal was time-consuming. The animals coming out were really wobbly for quite a while, and then they were susceptible to carnivore predation. But the animals were then, once they're tangled up, the helicopter land, they blindfold them. And a good capture crew, they get very, very proficient with it.
How far could you capture something with this?
Well, these were all done from a helicopter, so the helicopter just kind of comes in on them, and the shooter's hanging out the side.
Like 30, 40 meters even, you could capture something?
You're right on top. You're only above the animal enough for the net to open up.
So this thing has a kind of a funny story associated with it, and that's Ed the duck.
Jeff Marley hopes to catch Eddie with his net gun. So far, he's come the closest. On this day, the mallard was within shooting distance, but stiff winds and a strong river current threatened to turn the rescue into tragedy by weighting Eddie down and possibly drowning him.
And you got involved somehow. Somebody called you and knew that you had capture technologies, or
Fish and Wildlife knew that we had this, and they were getting a lot of phone calls
about this duck.
Yeah, and wanting somebody to do something. And there were tons of people chasing that thing around. The CBC national news anchor was in town when it started for Queen Elizabeth or something, and he told the local crew, stay on this story. And as soon as I fired, there were hundreds of people, and they all ran to where they heard the noise. And I couldn't move. I handed this to one of the kids, and I said, I'm just going to jump.
Yeah, you got it. Somebody's got to get this thing back.
What I didn't know is they had turned off the water at the dam upstream. The water was now like 3-4 feet, say a meter shallower. And when I jumped,
Marley wrenched his ankle jumping off the bridge into the water to make sure Fast Eddie didn't drown in the net.
Get him out of the net, get the six-pack holder, plastic holder off. And one of the guys said, well, you better go to the hospital. I'm pretty sure you broke this thing. The way it works is the net is stuffed in here with 4 steel weights. It's fired with a .30 caliber blank, and that blank uses the expanding gas to project the steel weights. Right. And when everything's perfect, it just pops open really fast.
For anyone that's not familiar with that, it's a blank. So it's basically, it's a brass cartridge. There's powder in it. There's a primer in it, but there's no projectile at all. All you're getting is the expanding gas in this case
to push those net weights out. This was the helicopter model. We call this air to ground. The other was called ground to ground.
This one right here.
Yeah.
You can see right, this is so wide, this is narrower.
These are heavy.
Yeah, no kidding.
And that's why it's aluminum stock.
So about the product itself, the idea existed. You said it was used in New Zealand. You had these, and it was your design working with a manufacturer? Or how?
No, it was a machinist. It happened to be a gunsmith by trade. And we had a version that used that as a model, streamlined it. They're all 30 caliber.
Looking at the receiver here,
Yeah.
so the bolt, like that's a firearms component.
Yep.
Obviously the bolt is, but the barrel isn't. This is not a weapons barrel at all. It's not a gun, obviously, and the reason it's not a gun is that there's no true barrel for a projectile to go.
Yeah, you
the
can't.
projectiles.
You can't in the field take this apart, right, and make a belly gun. So it comes under the classification of powder actuated tool,
Right,
which is
same
like
as a nail gun, basically.
like a nailer. Yeah,
One thing that screams up to me is this whole upper, I guess it's the chamber.
right here.
Oh.
Your back is rifle.
Oh, there's two different.
One piece of the barrel, one piece of the action.
Well, how did they make this? Did he machine this out of a solid piece of steel?
Yeah. This is seamless tubing that was silver soldered in. It had to be front locking bolt Mauser style, so that was the reason for the P14 Enfield, which is actually World War I surfless.
Really?
And it front locking action. It's a Mauser style, so it contains all the gas forward. So Conrad works for us. He's fired this before. He's going to try and do a pass shot at this football. Yep. Okay, here she goes. Perfect. Woo, beautiful shot. Put that down. Let's do it on the cement. So that one this way. That's off. Yeah. As soon as it gets chambered, you should put it on and don't take it off till just before you're going to pull the trigger. Just flip it all the way forward. Right? Yep.
For more information on products and consulting services, contact Margo Supplies, Calgary, Alberta.